Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. My name's Lizzie. I feel like I should give you a little bit of background because I know particularly with YouTube videos marked anything to do with pregnancy, you can just find another person without knowing anything about who they are. So if you've no idea who I am, my background is I have a design store in Islington in London called Smug, which I set up 8.5 years ago. And since then I've launched my own products that I sell there, a blog, I also have a podcast called How to Curate Your Life, and this is my first proper, I say proper, you're currently resting on various boxes and books, so I'm sorry about the wobble, but I just feel like if I don't do this, I'm never going to do this. So that's the setup for today. I've done one other YouTube video ever, and that was a Christmas vlog like 2 years ago, which is available on the channel if you want to have a listen or watch. But this is the first ever like sit down and talk to you YouTube video. And the reason I've decided it's time to do this is because I have an Instagram account which I love doing and is all about my life, but predominantly about design-led aspects of my life, well really all about design-led aspects of my life, and with a main focus on Smug and the podcast and that area of things. But now that I'm having a baby, I thought it would be nice to kind of share some of that journey. Originally, I didn't think that I wanted to do that, and so there's not anything like that on my Instagram. But as I've kind of got further along in my pregnancy and I've been watching lots of other people's YouTube videos about being pregnant and preparing for a baby, I found them so interesting and helpful, it made me feel like I kind of wanted to join in and do my version. So, disclaimer, this is talking about my first trimester. I'm now 30 weeks. So through my second trimester and into my third. But I wanted to do things properly because I have a plan to do I'm pregnant first trimester, which is this, a second trimester, and obviously a third, but I'm also going to talk about the fact in a different video that we've been doing hypnobirthing. I also want to give you a what's in my hospital bag video and what bits have we bought for the baby and baby clothes hauls and see the nursery and stuff. So there's lots of content to come, hopefully, as long as I don't pop too soon, and as long as people find it vaguely interesting. But it felt like YouTube was the place to do it. So rambly introduction over. Now I'm going to get stuck in. So I'm pregnant, as I say, currently 30 weeks, but this is going to be a focus on the first 12 weeks. I am due in April, which is exciting, April 2018, if you're watching this loads later. And basically, my kind of story of finding out I was pregnant, I was lying in bed in the night and woke up and I said to my husband, who was half asleep, granted, it's like, I think that I'm pregnant. And we'd been trying, but not, you know, hard, or I don't know what that means even, but we weren't assuming it would happen quickly. And I just said, I feel like I'm pregnant, because I just felt different. There was something I could just tell. And Dan was sort of like, yeah, whatever, go back to sleep. So the next day I got up and went off to work and took a pregnancy test, and I was pregnant. Oh, my phone's ringing, sorry. Hold on 1 minute. Hello? Sorry guys. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so I took a pregnancy test, I was pregnant, and it's so funny because you get that thing where you're just like, and it takes a few seconds to like process. It was really funny. So anyway, I then went home on my lunch break because Dan wasn't at work that day, and was like, we're having a baby. So that's all very exciting. Sorry, when I kind of just gesticulate, it looks like you wobble. So sorry about that. But anyway, that was obviously all really exciting. We were lucky enough to go to our GP that same day that I'd found out, because I found out early enough in the morning that I called up for an afternoon appointment and they had space for me. So I did that. And if you're interested, the way that worked was we went to our GP and then we basically chose our hospital, and our GP did the setup so that UCLH, which is where we're gonna have the baby, got in touch and set the ball rolling. So if you're wondering when you get pregnant what you do next, I think you can go straight to the hospital in terms of like straight to contacting the hospital, but we did the GP route and they set everything up for us, and that worked quite well. So yeah, we went to the local GP, and also at the same time of doing that, it meant I could get my NHS Maternity Exemption certificate, which means that you get your prenatal vitamins, as the Americans say, for free. So Pregnacare I've been taking, and in fact at first I don't have any left of them. I just had the Pregnacare original because that's what the GP suggested, and that's fine. But then when I got to the end of that, I saw that other people were taking Pregnacare Plus, which included these omega-3 capsules, and then once I've got to the end of that, I'm now actually on Pregnacare Max, which is green tablets instead of the orange ones I was taking at the beginning. You take 2 of these on one of these, so each time I've got to the end there seems to be a higher version to go to. So anyway, you can get those sorted from your GP, and then yeah, we kind of went on to have our first appointments with the hospital. I've got my maternity record UCH folder here with me in the hope that that might be helpful with shedding some light on kind of how it all works, but I also want to talk to you about some of the products and bits and bobs that I found quite helpful in the first trimester. I was really lucky. I just felt sleepy, and so I just went to bed earlier. Generally it was a very easy first trimester. I didn't get kind of morning sickness or anything like that. I would say that I did feel like I needed to eat differently, so I didn't have morning sickness and I didn't get nausea, but I did feel like too much food made me feel really full or a bit weird, but then I would feel a bit weak if I didn't eat enough. So Jacob's cream crackers, not the most exciting thing in the world, but at the time they really hit the spot of something to have to settle my tummy when I was a bit hungry but I didn't want to eat a lot. So they're really good, and I hear if you do have proper morning sickness, they're an absolute winner, because they really settle your tummy. So I feel like I've got a hair stuck to my lip. It's still attached to my head. So yeah, Jacob's crackers I enjoyed. And then when it came to the old kind of people talking about stretch marks thing, obviously my tummy didn't really pop out in the first 12 weeks, but lots and lots of people's videos that I was watching was talking about bio oil, which is this little guy, which I did like. I like the smell of it, and it's nice to have an oil. I quite like an oil. Sorry, this has got my cat's hair on it now, which is great. So I was using that a little bit because I was just sort of being a bit super keen, and it's exciting to be pregnant and it's nice to do special things for yourself. So I was rubbing that into my tummy even though I didn't have a tummy or a sticky outy baby tummy. Since then I'm probably using these things less now that I do have a really big belly, because I understand that stretch marks are completely hereditary and actually there's nothing that you can do. But if you do want to feel like you're doing something, just in case it makes a difference. I mean, the other thing I would say is as you get further along, your skin stretches more, and so your tummy can get a little bit itchy, but also it's nice to just be moisturising. I don't moisturise tons my body otherwise because I've got quite naturally an oily skin, but it has got a bit drier, and anything that you can do to sort of pamper yourself and look after yourself is really nice when you're pregnant. So my other favourite kind of moisturising body jobby is this Aesop rind concentrate body balm, which is completely delicious. So it's orange rind, pink grapefruit and lemon rind, and it's really, really lovely. Smells amazing, and as I say, I would say my skin has got a little bit drier through being pregnant, even my arms and legs and stuff, so I've been moisturising a bit more, and this is an old classic favourite that I've always had. The other area that's got a little bit drier is my lips, and this is my favourite lip balm. So it's a Bioderma one. I'll link all of these bits at the bottom as they do in the description box on YouTube. But this kind of, for ages I couldn't work out what it slightly smells and tastes of, and it's raspberry, but it's quite faint, and it's a really, really, I've got it on now, it's a really, really, really good lip balm because it just completely moisturises your lips, and it's not sticky and tacky and annoying. It just really does moisturise your lips quite quickly as well, because I've been finding they've been cracking a lot. So that's been really good. Other things I wanted to talk to you about, baby on board badge. Do you, don't you, what do you do? Obviously this is a bit premature because in your first trimester, generally you're not telling people until you have your 12-week scan that you're having a baby. So I had ordered mine because I just knew that I was going to want it. So I wanted to flag up how to do that, because since I've been wearing it, quite a few people have come up to me and said, how do you get one of those? And it's literally just going to the TfL website. There's a link of the page that you go and you fill in your details and they post it to you. So I will include that link as well in the description box in case you need one of these. Politically, it's a complicated one. I know some people don't like them. I feel like in England, it's not really even for you, it's for the person who's terrified that they're going to ask you if you want a seat and actually you're just fat. So it's more for that person to be reassured that yes, you are pregnant and yes, you would like to be offered a seat. The frustration of the first few times I was wearing, well, more than the first few times I was wearing it, basically almost all the way through the second trimester, people did tend to sort of look at my badge, look at me, look at my belly and be like, you're fine standing up for the time being. And actually that's more annoying than just not wearing the badge and feeling like someone's not noticed. So that was kind of a bit annoying, but it is a good thing to have because there's a certain type of really nice person who will give you a seat, but they just want to see the badge to know that they're not doing the wrong thing in asking. As I say, now that I'm 30 weeks, people just see the belly and give me a seat because there's definitely enough belly to be able to tell for sure. So I'm not wearing it as much, but I do think as long as you don't have a kind of political issue with it, or I don't know what, some of my friends who were taking quite a long time to get pregnant and found it hard to get pregnant felt quite emotional when they saw someone else wearing one and found that quite hard. So I know it's a complicated one, but I had one and I found it helpful to a point, so you might want to get one. So going back to kind of like some of our appointments and how that worked, I am somebody who doesn't like having my blood taken. I'm not scared of needles particularly, but I don't like lots of blood to be taken because it leaves me feeling quite faint and lightheaded. And obviously I didn't want to faint. I have got a history of fainting, but if I faint then sometimes I have a fit. That wouldn't have been good for the baby, yada yada yada. So that was kind of I don't know, I felt like all the way through I've been a slightly difficult patient in that there have been reasons why I couldn't necessarily just do it exactly the way the hospital wants everybody to do it. But I would say in general the midwives at UCLH have been really kind and flexible and understanding in general. So let me talk to you about the appointments. So you have an 8-week appointment, which is kind of your first one when you get given this, and that's when you have all of your first screenings. And there are quite a lot of vials of blood to be taken because they want to test you for all sorts of things. So there's a screening for, I can't see here, I don't think it actually lists all of the different things, but I went through it with them and we added it up, and basically there was like, I think nearly 12 vials of blood that needed to be taken for different things. So what we agreed was I was gonna, luckily I don't work too far from the hospital, so I was gonna have like 2 or 3 at a time because there were lots of different tests and you needed a certain amount for each one. So I'd say, well, I'm going to take these first 3 tests today. Sorry, I think I've got the hiccups. No, it's okay, it's fast. So I would take a few and then I would leave it for a few days and come back and take another few, because I just knew if I tried to have 12 in one go I'd get really lightheaded and that would be that, and that was not a good plan. Unfortunately it led to me being very bruised, but I just wanted to make the point that it's so important that if there's anything through your pregnancy, dealing with the hospital or your GP, if there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable and you don't think is right for you and your body, you need to call it. You need to make that decision and say, actually, this isn't the way that I want to do it. And it's not always about being a good little patient and just fitting in and doing it exactly the way they want you to do it. They obviously have structures and systems in place so that they can do things efficiently and well for as many people as possible, but don't get yourself trapped in a position where you feel kind of stuck and scared or like it isn't what's right for you. Just say, and hopefully they can be adaptable. They were adaptable for me, and that in the end worked much better. It did mean on my birthday because this was all before 12 weeks and we hadn't told friends yet, I had to wear makeup. It was in the summer, so I had a short sleeve top on. Had to wear makeup on my arms because I was so purple. But other than that, it was fine. So that, I think that's important to share. Really important. Also, we've been, as I said earlier, doing a hypnobirthing class further along in the pregnancy, and really knowing what's right for you and how you feel is such a big part of making sure that you're looking after yourself, and having the pregnancy and eventually labour that's right for you, that's going to work for you, is so important. So yeah, just want to flag that up. Other weird things, hair has been, I don't know what it looks like now, to be honest, but hair in general has been less greasy, and so I've been washing it less often. I've been washing it only like every 4 days or something, but weirdly Collab dry shampoo used to be my favourite thing for kind of keeping it going a bit longer, and for some reason that's not really doing anything at the moment. But what I found to help loads, give it a bit of longevity and spruce it up and keep it going for those 4 days, is this Bumble and Bumble Preta powder. Equal parts dry shampoo, style extender and volume in a pinch. So you basically, it's just like a kind of pearlescent-y powder. It's like talcum powder in a way, but does a better job, and it gives you more volume. So I've just been putting that in my hands, rubbing in and then rubbing into the roots, and that kind of takes away some of the sheen and gives it a bit of a woof at the same time. My lovely hairdresser Taka, who's called Taka Sano, and his salon Sano in Islington on Upper Street is fantastic, and where I go, and he gave me this as a little treat for saying congratulations. So I would really recommend that. So I wanted to obviously as well talk to you about the 12-week scan, which was really exciting. So that's the ultrasound screening, and it assesses the gestational age, and checks for like structural abnormalities and things like that, and Down syndrome and any complications. So obviously it's exciting for you to get to see the baby and hear the heartbeat and all of that sort of stuff, but it's also very important that the sonographer is taking measurements and checking all of the different things about the baby to be sure that as far as they can tell everything's healthy and good. So that was lovely. Frustrating that you don't get to know if it's a girl or a boy at that stage. We had to wait for 20 weeks for that. Some places they can tell and they're prepared to say, but our sonographer was just like, no, 20 weeks, we don't tell you now. So anyway, that was a nice experience. What I would say, I don't know if this is what happens for everyone, but word of warning, if you're the woman and you're lying on your back and the sonographer needs to see the screen well, quite often you can't see loads of what's going on. So my husband Dan got a really good picture of everything and had a great time, but I was sort of lying at a funny angle being like, what? I can't see the foot. So I would say in a way I didn't get to see as much as I thought I would, because I suppose the only times I've seen it before has been on television or in a film when it's actually pointing at the right angle so that you can see from the camera. So yeah, I found it a little bit difficult lying on the bed being like, but still that was really exciting and lovely. And to sort of celebrate the fact that we'd got to the 12 weeks, we did go and buy ourselves a little baby grow. So I was telling you that we got a onesie to celebrate. This is a little Gap jobby. It's a baby Gap. It's 0 to 3 month rather than newborn. I don't think they did it in a newborn, but it's super cute and just very us, and the sort of thing that me and Dan would wear. I mean, it's the sort of thing that I'm wearing now, isn't it? So yeah, I'll link that below. I think they're still doing that if you like that. Really cute. So looking forward to sharing with you all of the other baby clothes. We've got a lot of cute stuff to show you. But a couple more things I want to share with you that I found really helpful in the first trimester are a couple of apps. One's called Ovia Pregnancy, and the other is called The Bump. And I just found it really helpful kind of having a different article pop up every day to sort of educate me, I suppose, on what's supposed to be happening in my body, what's happening with the baby, things to think about for when the baby comes. And I did find that it led to me knowing quite a lot of stuff quite quickly. So I liked that. I like swatting up and being a bit of a nerd. So I enjoyed that. Ovia is also really cute. The Bump has it as well, but it's also really cute because it says each week what vegetable or fruit the baby is in terms of size. So I think you can change it so it's like strange creatures or inanimate objects or different things, but I've got it on vegetables, and it also shows like a handprint of, I don't know if you can see this, but a handprint of the baby size now, and then a line around the outside for the size it will be. So yeah, it's cute and educational, so I'd really recommend those, just for feeling like, I mean, particularly in the 12 weeks period, to be honest. I mean, I love it all the way through, but if you're not talking to other people about it, it's really nice to kind of feel like you've got something every day telling you a new thing. So that's really cool. And then there is a podcast called, I think it's called Pee in the Podcast. I'm just looking it up. Yeah, Pee in the Podcast, which I'll link below. It's an American podcast, but it's like basically a week by week update on what's happening. And so in some respects there are slight variations in terms of like the medical care you would get, because obviously we've got the NHS and they go private essentially because they're paying for it. But the differences are small, and it's just really nice to hear about the baby's development and all that sort of stuff. So I really recommend Pee in the Podcast. If you are somebody who's a bit scared about pregnancy and birth, which I'm not particularly, but I'm quite into sort of meditation and being mindful and all of that sort of stuff. So if that interests you at all, there's also a podcast, which is an English podcast, which is called the Fear-Free Childbirth Podcast, which is also really good, and has lots of positive birth stories on it. So I'll link those both below as well. I think that's covering everything for what I wanted to talk about in the first trimester video. I will have a second one coming soon, because as I said, I'm already through that too, so I'm going to catch you up as quick as possible. Yeah, and we will get sharing baby clothes, and at the moment we've already got the cot and the pram and things like that, so I'll be sharing that with you. At the moment we're trying to decide between a Moses basket and a snooze pod and all that sort of stuff for where the baby's going to sleep for the first 6 months, so I will keep you in the loop about that too. But thank you so much for watching. Next time I might try a proper tripod so you don't wobble and go out of focus as much, but hopefully this has been okay as a first attempt, and it's just nice to touch base with you, and hello and thanks again for watching. And if you fancy giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing, that would be amazing, and then you'll keep getting all the stuff I'm banging on about. My YouTube video isn't necessarily only going to be pregnancy related. I'll probably have more design stuff up here as well, but for this period of time in the lead up to the baby, I'm doing a lot of baby thinking, so it'll probably be predominantly that for the time being. But I will link my Instagram and websites and everything below as well, so if you're more interested in the design world vibes, head over there. But thank you, have a lovely day, bye.